Yes, good morning. Today in this video we are going to see the topic which is complex number. The complex number. In this video we will discuss the introduction of complex number and the operation of on the complex number, the addition, subtraction and multiplication. Okay. What is first complex number? A number is of the form a plus IB. We call it this as a complex number. This is a standard form of the complex number. This is a standard form of complex number where this A, we call it this as the real part of complex number, and B, we call it as the imaginary part of complex number, and the I stand for imaginary. The value of I, it is equal square root of minus 1. So this is the introduction of complex number where a and b are the real numbers, where a and b are real, where a and b are real numbers. It may be any value, but the standard form is a plus ib. So using this definition, so if I square it, so you will get this is minus 1. So this is a very important thing throughout the complex number we are using. The I square stand for minus 1. So you can calculate any value in the powers of I. How? This is I power 3. How will you write I power 3? I can write it as I square into I. So which is equal, since the I square value I know it, which is equal minus 1, and the I is stands same. It remains the same. Therefore you will get minus I. Similarly, I can calculate the I power 4. What is the I power 4? I square whole square, which is in turn implies, since we know this value, what is this value? This is equal minus 1. So I can minus 1 whole square, since minus 1 whole square, which is equal 1. So you can calculate the any exponent of I. Suppose if you deal with the big number, I can take for example I power 20. So how will you write I power 20? Just split this one as 2 into 10. Is it right? The 20 I power 20 can be written as I square whole power 10. Since we know this one, I square, what is I square value? So I square value is minus 1. So which in turn implies 10. So since it is minus to the power even number, so the value is equal 1. Similarly, we will discuss about the odd number. So if it is odd number, what happened? If it is 30, how will you write 30? I can write it 30 as I square to the power 15. Since we know this value, what is this value? I square is minus 1. I can substitute here. This is I square is equal minus 1 and then to the power 15. Since this is minus 1 power 15, minus 1 power 15, this is a power odd, therefore the value is minus 1. So this is a brief introduction of the complex number. Now we will discuss about the next one, which is conjugate. This is a very important topic. Suppose, how will you find the conjugate of particular complex number? Suppose if you have find the conjugate Find the conjugate of A. This is minus 4 plus 3i, and then B 1 plus 2i. C, this is minus 1 plus 4i. So I have to calculate the conjugate. The conjugate is nothing but just you have to change the sign of imaginary term, sign of the imaginary number. So how will you calculate this? Yes. Now what is the conjugate of this? Just you have to change the conjugate, means you have to change the imaginary sign. If it is plus present, you have to write it minus. If it is minus is there, you have to write it plus, opposite sign. Since I write it minus 4, here plus is there, therefore here minus 3i. That's it. This is the conjugate of the given complex number. Similarly here we have 1 plus is given, therefore it is 1 minus 2i. And the last one we have here, change here minus, so you will get minus 1 minus 4i. Suppose if it is minus is there, you have to change as plus. Let me take the another one, minus 1 minus 2i. What is the conjugate of this one? So here the conjugate is minus 1. Since it is given as minus in the question, therefore it is plus 2i. So this is the opposite sign of imaginary part. The real part remains the same, only that you have to change the sign of imaginary part. Now we will go to the addition of a complex number. Before that, there are some of the problem which is given as a numerical values. You have to write it in this format. 7 plus root 45 simplify as a complex number. So how will you simplify this? So this is equal, 7 remains same, so minus 45 which is given. Now I can write it this one as 7 plus root minus 1 root 45. Since the square root of minus 1 which is equal I, right? So this is 7 plus, and 45 I can write it as 9 into 5. If I take this one outside 9, so you will get answer is 7 plus I 3 root 5. So this is the answer. What is the conjugate? If the question is asking the conjugate, what supposed to be a conjugate of this given complex number? So this is a conjugate is 7 minus I 3 root 5. Either you can write it as I3 or 3i, it is same. Okay. Now we will discuss the addition on the complex number. Addition. Okay. Simplify. Simplify 7 minus 2i and then plus of minus 2 minus 4i. Now how will you simplify this one? It is just with the simplification with the number, just it is I is there, so I can write it as 7 minus 2i. If you are multiplying the plus here, what happened? There will be no change, therefore you will get plus into minus, minus 2 and minus 4i. Now here you have to add a real number with the real number, and you have to add the imaginary part with the imaginary part, right? So what should be the value here? The value is equal 7 minus 2, which is equal 5, minus 2i minus 4i, which is equal minus 6i. So this is your value. Now similarly, if you have a two numbers, simplify, write it in the standard form. 3, 1 minus 2i, and then plus 2 times of 4 minus 4 plus I. Since here, what is the difference between the last problem and this problem? Here we don't have a number, directly we can add. But here first you have to multiply the number inside, and then you have to add. So what should be the multiply? So this is equal 3 minus 6i, and then plus multiply this one. What will have? So you will have minus 8 and then plus 2i. Now the same thing, you have to add with the real number, and the imaginary part with the imaginary numbers, right? So what should be the value here? It is equal minus 5. 3 minus 8, it is minus 5, and minus 4i. So this is the answer. Suppose if the question is asking the conjugate, what should be the conjugate of this one? The conjugate is given by minus 5. Here since it is minus, therefore change the plus. So this is a addition. Now we are going to see the subtraction. Subtraction on the complex number. So what we have here, simplify. Always you have to write it the final answer in the standard form of the complex number, that is a plus ib form. Minus 9 plus 4i minus 2 minus 6i. So what happened here? In the last problem we have here plus, therefore here it is minus, therefore subtraction. It is just like the same thing, addition, only you have to multiply the minus inside. If you multiply the minus inside, so what happened here? Minus 2 minus into minus plus 6i. Now what is the addition here? So this is minus 9 minus 2, which is equal minus 11, and then 4i plus 6i, which is equal 10i. So this is the simplified answer. Always you have to write it in the a plus ib form. So this is the same thing. If you have a number, just multiply. After that you have to go with the subtraction. Okay, now we will take the last topic, which is multiplication. Multiplication, yes. Simplify, write it in the standard form. Simplify 3i into 2 minus 5i, and the b. 3 minus 4i into 2 plus 5i plus 5. Okay. Now first of all, in this case we have a multiplication, not the plus and minus. So you have to multiply inside with each and every term. What happened? 3i into 2, which is equal 6i, plus into minus, minus 3 into 5, 15, I into I, which is equal I square. Since we don't know the value of I square, what is the I square value? I square value I have taken, which is equal minus 1, right? So what happened, this it become plus 15, right? This is 6i plus 15. Always you have to write it the real part first, therefore I can write it as 15 plus 6i. This is not the standard form, right? So always the standard form is a plus ib. So first you have to write it the real part and then followed by the imaginary part. That's why we will write it the real part first and then the imaginary part. And coming to the next one, here we have also a multiplication, right? So here take one number, one term and multiply with both the numbers. So what will get? So 3 to 6 plus 3 into 5, which is equal 15i, and then next you have to multiply with 4i with both the term. So what you'll get here? Minus 4i into 2 minus 8i plus into minus minus 20i square. And since we know the I square value is equal minus 1, it become plus 20, right? And the remaining terms are same. 6 plus 15i minus 8i. Now added the real with the real part. What is the real part here? The real part to the real part. 6 plus 20, which is equal 26, and then the imaginary part plus 7i. So this is the answer. So that's it. Thank you.